This video is going to cover the topic, what makes a car stop? This is a summary of that topic.
So in this topic, we've looked at the physics behind what makes a car stop. You've seen the relationship between acceleration and velocity when they are and when they're not in the same direction. So we considered a man in an elevator and how the forces acting on him changed as the acceleration changed direction in relationship to the velocity. We've considered the frictional force, and you've learnt about the coefficient of static and kinetic friction that can be used to describe the size of the frictional force. You've seen that if you have an object which is stationary, as you push it with an ever-increasing force, there's an increasing frictional force opposing that motion until you get to the maximum static frictional force of the object, at which point the object starts to move and experiences kinetic friction. You've seen that objects with wheels or objects that roll are constantly experiencing the static friction force as the surface between the road and the tyres, or the surface and the rolling object, is always stationary. We've had a look at the physics behind car crashes. You've seen what momentum is, mass times velocity. You've met impulse, force times time, and you've seen how by increasing the time taken over which a crash occurs, we can decrease the maximal force and hence make cars safer for when they undergo a crash. You've seen the law of conservation of momentum, and whenever there's no external forces or negligible external forces involved, we can use the law of conservation of momentum. And finally, we had a look at what happened as a car turned a corner. You were introduced to circular motion, and you saw that the acceleration was always directed towards the centre of the curve. So I recommend that now, to consolidate your understanding, you have a go at the tutorial problems for this topic. You also need to attempt the investigation, where you'll be measuring the coefficient of static friction between an object and a slope. And you've now covered all the physics which is covered in the second quiz. So I recommend that you also attempt the second quiz. Okay, I hope you've learnt a lot from this topic.
A special thanks to Sebastian Frick for filming this video.